You got all the money in the world, but you don't have time for your granddaughter. You don't want her part of the family. She can't come to Christmas outings, but you're a morally good dude. You stole one of your best friends and the babysitter. You married Jill, and you allowed your son to sleep with your dead son's wife, and you approved of that. But they're running around
and then cheat on son.
Yeah, but he's a great human being.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Seems like it. You just laid that case out perfectly.
This is Sparta!
Welcome back to Spartan Leadership. I'm your host, Josh Kosnick, and this week is a week for leadership in review. So I got my main man, Emanuel Whitfield, in the building with me.
I will be going by as Negrodamus today because we are predicting the future. We got Jostronamus, and what we say come true.
That's right. And for those of you new to the show, welcome. We are glad to have you here. We are talking leadership in politics, in government, all the things leadership. We have two shows within the show, really. Most of my episodes are interviewing high-powered leaders, and twice a month, we're doing leadership in review because things are changing so dang fast within our political government and all the corporate leadership happenings throughout the United States of America that we got to get on these mics because the episode we just dropped is already outdated.
And we were so right.
And we were right on quite a few things. We also got Remington in the room today. She's taking a nap. So I am the minority in the room today.
Yes, you are.
Which is good.
Speaking of minorities, I was at the cigar bar this weekend. This beautiful Spanish woman. I couldn't communicate with her. So one of my buddies came and told me, he was like, listen, all you have to do is pretend like you know Spanish. I was like, I don't know how to pretend to know Spanish. He said, just spell socks really fast and they'll think you know Spanish. So I said, S-O-C-K-S. S-O-C-K-S. S-O-C-K-S, mommy. So I ended up going out too. We had a good time.
How often did you repeat it?
All night long. She was like, oh, papi. I said, S-O-C-K-S, baby.
What's funny about that is it does kind of sound like Spanish.
Doesn't it?
But listening to my sister-in-law speak with her mother is fascinating because her mother speaks Spanish so fast. They're Colombian, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
And man, she speaks so fast. Like, I don't even think if I became fluent in Spanish that I could ever understand. My brother is fluent, and he sometimes can't understand her because it's just so fast. And so it's interesting to see the different countries, Latino countries. Like,
now, don't they have an app or something that can like translate?
Google
in real
Translate.
time?
Yeah, Google Translate does actually a pretty decent job.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, so if you're in a foreign country, like you use Google Translate, if you're in an area where there's no English speaking and you don't speak Spanish or whatever other language, Google Translate does a really pretty good job.
But I wonder if it can like translate slang. So if I'm on a date and I'd be like, girl, you look good, won't you back that ass up? Would it translate that? That'd be wild.
I would want to know what that translation is now. So now I'm going to go to Google Translate after we're done recording.
You say, girl, you look good. Oh, man.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. Let's refresh from our past episode where we called that there was going to be a potential assassination attempt on Trump. We said, and this is all a speculative show, so we don't know. Right. We don't have any inside information.
No.
And we're just giving our opinions on what the landscape looks like. Mm-hmm. We called that they were going to get Joe Biden out of this race.
Man, 2 for 2. 2 for 2.
I don't remember what else we talked about in that episode.
We kind of said if all else fell, COVID's going to come back, and they're going to start prepping us for
potentially World War III.
Ballot harvesting. And
you know, Democrats are real mad about.
What's that?
They got to change all the 100 million pre-filled ballots they filled out. Oh, they got to change the name now.
I didn't think about that. I wouldn't be surprised because I know there's going to be a surprise when election time. There's going to be some machines breaking, and there's going to be we have to postpone the count, and all of that stuff's coming up, and it always swings the Democratic way.
Yeah.
The key states like Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and all that.
Michigan.
Michigan. It's all going to go the left. I wouldn't be surprised if Kamala wins. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
I don't know that she runs, but let's start with the assassination attempt. We'll get to the Biden dropout here in a moment, but let's get to the assassination attempt. So it happens that Saturday.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts? Like right when you seen it happen?
My first thought was the deep state has really pulled the trigger. They really went there. And it was so shocking, but it wasn't shocking at all. So I was kind of in like disbelief, but I was like, we said this was going to happen, you know? So I'm just amazed that people think it was staged, and all of a sudden the people who should be for equal rights and civil rights are wishing that a president would be assassinated and rooting on the deep state. These are the same people who assassinated Martin Luther King, JFK, and stuff like that. And now you got the left rooting for this. It's amazing. I'm shocked.
Now, I wouldn't call Trump a unifier. That being said, all those people you just mentioned, MLK, JFK,
Yeah.
Malcolm X,
Medgar Evers, the freedom fighters.
they were talking about unity.
Yeah.
And for talking about unity, you get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want us divided and conquered.
Josh, I learned this lesson every day. I mean, it's so refreshing to come in here and chop it up with you, because I don't have all the answers. But to sit across from someone that's intelligent and reasonable, we don't know all the answers, but 1 + 1 = 2 with us. We don't care what side it comes from. And to be able to talk to you, it's a lot of stuff that I wasn't educated about, like foods that they won't sell in America, that they sell in America, that they don't sell in other countries, controlled opposition, and, you know, just opening that third eye of mine to say, really read that book really well before you talk about it, you know? So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, but also this is part of the reason we do this, is to wake some others up to see, like, look, this is a play. Mm-hmm. They've been running this for decades. I had the privilege, you didn't hear about this yet, you'll see it come out. Just yesterday, I had the privilege to interview the guy, this ex-CIA guy that blew the whistle on waterboarding.
Wow.
And so we'll get back to Trump assassination. Just quick aside. So for those of you listening, you'll hear that come out, but it's pertinent to this conversation.
Yeah. He's
now able to talk about a lot of things because he has immunity, because he served federal penitentiary time, 3 years, for doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting for people, again, to try and wake them up a little bit.
Yeah.
So for those of us that lived during that waterboarding time in the late 90s, early 2000s, for those of us that were old enough, these Gen Zers don't know, but let's drop some game for you. There was a big deal made of waterboarding and torture at Guantanamo Bay and other bases across the world.
Was that under Cheney or Obama's?
That was Cheney.
Yeah,
Cheney and then
Bush.
Yeah, Bush was that time. Yep,
Darth Vader. They called Cheney Darth Vader.
Well, he was.
Yeah, he's a
bad
guy.
dude.
Yeah,
he's a bad dude. Now it's funny to see the Democrats.
They love him.
They love Dick Cheney. They love Liz Cheney because she starts agreeing with them because she's part of the deep state, because he was part of the deep state. Anyhow, so all this hubbub, if you remember, like I was in college around that time. I was high school to college during that time. And I was actually on the side of torture them. I'm like, these are bad people.
You were brainwashed.
I was brainwashed. I was like, these are bad people. Torture them. Get the information. They're killing our people.
Yep.
They're killing innocent people.
And Fox News was feeding it to you, boy. You're unpatriotic if you don't agree with it.
But what was interesting about that is the Democrats or liberals at that time were like, no, that's inhumane, yada, yada. Like,
they were on the right side.
They were on the right side.
Phil Donahue, all those guys all the people on the left were way on the right side.
And John Kiriakou, who I interviewed yesterday, told me, like, and so the Democrat politicians are sticking up for him. And then when it comes time, when he's getting prosecuted and he's going to go to federal penitentiary, guess who didn't stick up for him?
Dems.
Yeah. So they raised all this hubbub. They raised all these flags, and they got us all fired up strictly so that we could be divided.
Mm. That makes
and then when it came time to do the right thing for the guy that actually blew the whistle, they were nowhere to be found.
Gave him that cold shoulder. Who? What?
And he said he even had a congressman come up to him in Greece. A U.S. congressman come up to him in Greece and try to apologize. Mm. Not even apologize, like in a real way, but like try to give him a hug and say blah, blah, blah. He's like,
the damage has already been done.
He's like, no, I served 3 years of my life away from my family and kids.
For doing the right thing.
For doing the right thing. And when I needed you, you weren't there.
Does he fear for his life or anything now that he's speaking out even more?
I didn't ask that question. I would say he would, because he runs a radio and podcast, but he feels at this time like he's already like what else?
Lose?
Like right,
what I have to lose?
And his family's probably accepted that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
wow.
So it's interesting. And then right after they got done with him, they moved on to Edward Snowden. But I just thought I'd bring that up as a quick aside. It was an honor to be able to interview him and give a brief glimpse for those that don't know that we want to think that our government has our best interests. We want to think these politicians are altruistic and they have our best interests at heart, and they're good people, because most of us are good people. Most. Not all.
I always say
most.
that too. They try to find the greater good in these people, but it's almost like finding gangbangers. Are they really good people? And politicians are gang members. They join one side. They rep the same colors, red and blue, and they're just gangbangers.
So it's just knowing that I heard multiple shots.
Me too.
And because I know I'm around guns a lot. I teach firearms safety. I shoot guns a lot. It's something that I enjoy doing. I have a vast knowledge, not like a military-esque knowledge, but I have a good knowledge about guns and shooting.
I'm not a sniper, but I'll pop your ass.
Especially those deer out there. Get them. So during season, DNR, during season. But if you're listening in 3-letter agencies.
Right.
So, but I hear multiple shots. And there's a crowd right around Trump, right? So I'm immediately in my head, I was like, there's no way that someone wasn't shot. There's no way. And so then you soon get reports out that, so I had the same feelings, exact same feelings you have. I was like, deep state actually did it.
That's exactly what I thought.
And then then the first interview I saw was the dude interviewed with the beer in his hand by the BBC, who was giving notice to local police
that the guy was on
the roof.
Yeah.
At least 20 minutes before the actual shooting.
Wow.
And I don't think so. Here's I'm gonna try and wrap a bow on this. They thought he'd be dead.
Oh, most definitely.
Right. That was a sure attempted assassination. Anyone that thinks differently thinks that there was a ketchup pocket in his pocket and
this kid could get a ladder and climb on a roof. You
are hateful, ignorant, and stupid if you think any of those things. Okay, so let me break this down for you. No person that has ever been around a gun would ever play chicken with a bullet. The very first thing I teach in gun safety is you never point a gun at something you don't wish to destroy. You always make sure that that gun is empty. And even if I check the gun and I hand it to you, you still check my work, that it is empty. That's part of firearm safety. You don't ever point a gun and you don't wish something to destroy. So no playing around, like playing with the gun, I'm just going to hold it at your head because I saw it on TV. Like, no, that's fucking around. You take someone's life. Don't do it. Secondly, a bullet's traveling at that speed. There is no sniper in the world. And Chris Kyle's dead, and if he was alive, he could attest to that's the greatest sniper that's been in U.S. military history. He would attest to this. There's no margin of error that small.
Earlobe.
Because that's less than a quarter, that's a centimeter, and he's dead.
Have been splattered on that.
A centimeter
stage.
And he's dead. There's millimeters and he's dead.
That would have changed the world.
It would have changed the world, and that's what they counted on. And now that it didn't happen, they're in scramble mode. All right, so let's. I'll get to that in a moment, but focus on the actual assassination attempt. We forgot to tell them about the cigars.
Yeah.
The cigars. What you smoking, E?
Monte Cristo #2, Cuban edition.
And I got a Liga Privada #9 smoking today. Thank you, Tasting Room, for these fine cigars.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We had to get that in there for those of you that watch YouTube and are curious of what we're choosing to smoke. So both great cigars. I'm usually an Opus guy, but these Liga Privada #9 is actually my financial advisor. Shout out Mark Cool. This is his favorite cigar.
I miss those little Davids, those tabernacles, whatever they are.
you smoke all those? There should be some in the humidor.
I didn't see any, but those are nice.
Yeah, there should be some. All right, so the assassination attempt itself fails.
Yeah.
And immediately you start seeing interviews of people saying, hey, we're screaming. Like Secret Service and local cops all are on the same, should be on the same frequency, and they all have earpieces in. Mm-hmm. So the threat is identified. Like, this was a massive failure in security.
Well, it was an intentional failure in security.
Correct.
The massive failure
let's just play out. Let's play out that if someone were to think that this was an accident or just ineptitude or incompetence.
Yeah.
Okay, look, we could play that out. There is no way that you leave that rooftop.
Out of all of them. Yeah.
This is just first principle in security. Without a shooter on it or without eyes on it constantly. If you're choosing not to have a shooter there, you have a shooter aimed at that rooftop the entire time.
Exactly.
Because you know it's a threat.
Was anybody, like, they didn't even station any snipers in the water tower, right?
Well, there's a picture saying that there's a shooter there.
That was interesting. I saw that on the news, and they were showing like a dark figure, probably like in some camo. But you could actually, I don't know if it's actual footage, but it did look like somebody was moving around up there. And I kept on asking myself, how the fuck did Hillary get up there? I just don't know how she got up there.
Hillary's not getting up there in her pantsuits. But she would hire someone to.
Maybe she had a camouflage
speculatively.
Pantsuit. Yeah, but that
right.
whole situation is wild.
But no, I want people to understand that, like, shooting, like most people, I don't care how trained of a shooter you are, you're not aiming at someone's head and expecting to miss by less than a centimeter. It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. The best sniper in the world is not doing that. Now, break that down further. You don't leave that roof open. You break that down further, you got Secret Service women protecting. I'm not trying to get in the DE&I debate. I'm not even trying that. Here's the principle, though, that should be taken into effect. If you're providing security, like, you're a big dude. How tall are you? 6'3"?
6'4".
6'4". Yeah. So Trump's 6'5", right?
About 6'3", 6'4". Yeah.
Is he?
He's a big boy.
Okay, so 6'4". Barron's like 6'8", though, right?
He's
a
giant.
So, okay, so Trump's your size.
Yeah.
You don't put, I don't care if they're male or female, you don't put a 5'5" security detail on a 6'4" human.
I think they would have put that little midget from Game of Thrones to try to put security.
Again, I'm talking about if we're about incompetence, right?
Yes,
I mean, we're talking through.
If that's the case.
Right. If we're talking through incompetence, we're talking about bad decision making by the Secret Service.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to the speculative part more. We're just talking through some facts right now. Like, you don't put a 5'5" person, if it's the most skilled woman on the planet, she could whoop my ass, like, cool.
Right.
But if she's 5'5", she can't cover up his vitals, let alone his head.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
So forget the DE&I debate. It's a height debate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't do that. They got to be able to protect the person. And the height of that person alone, never mind the gender or qualifications, cannot protect Trump in that scenario.
I get exactly what you're saying. That's like trying to have Muggsy Bogues guard Shaquille O'Neal. It's not going to work.
It doesn't work.
It's not going to work unless you want to lose.
Because all the vitals are exposed and the head's exposed. So it doesn't work. So that was a bad decision there. Also, the Trump team had been asking for additional detail for weeks, if not months, and was denied.
And Jill Biden got more detail for a speech in a Holiday Inn with, 40, 50 people, and she got more agents there than Trump has at a 20,000 person rally. It
Correct.
Doesn't add up.
Right.
It doesn't add up.
Now, here's the other thing I noticed with the gunshots almost immediately, because, again, I know guns. There was multiple different sounds.
Wow.
Meaning there was multiple different
shooters.
Well, regardless of shooters, there's multiple different guns fired. There was only a single shot, which was isolated, that you could clearly hear, that took out the actual, quote unquote, single shooter.
So you can hear when the different sounds.
There was, yes, you can hear the different sound. If you've been around enough guns, So right away, a friend was asking me, what do you think was shot? And I said, it sounded to me like a smaller round, say like a 5.56, which it was. It was an AR-15. They're like, you don't think it was a 9 or something? I was like, first of all, a 9 doesn't shoot that far. Second of all, it has a louder popping sound. This had like a right? So that's a rifle sound. So I called that out right away, but I heard different audibles of that. Like there's different sounds that it was making. And I couldn't tell right away if it was because it was hitting the bleachers or whatever it was, but it sounded like two different guns.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if there was a second shooter or not. There's that picture floating around the internet of the dude on a water tower. That's at about 400 yards for those paying attention, which, by the way, the sniper that killed Crooks was at 448 yards. It was a hell of a shot. That sniper should get commended. That is a hell of a shot.
Well, he could have been in on it too. I mean, going with conspiracy theories, he could have been locked in on that right away. You know, just you got to shut the...
Well, here's what I'll say again, because I know shooting and know the ability to be able to hit a small target at a long range. Crooks was at 120 to 140 yards. It's a pretty easy shot. I sight my gun in at 100 to 150 yards, and I can nail the bullseye 8 out of 10 times. I'm not the best shot in the world, but I'm a pretty good shot. At 100, 150 yards, I can nail that bullseye 8 or 9 times out of 10.
About a 90-something percent.
You go out to 450 yards, which that Secret Service sniper was that took out Crooks. I might hit that bullseye 5 out of 10, 50%.
So there's a major difference from
there's a major
10-yard field goal and a 50-yard field goal.
There's a major difference. And put into the fact that that roof was sloped, evidently that sniper only had the view of his head. So didn't have the body, like just saw top of his head poking out.
And hit him with a dome shot.
So what everyone's saying that knows snipers and knows these teams said it was a hell of a shot. So whether he was in on it or not, it was a hell of a shot.
Only know Wesley Snipes, but other than that, I don't know too many snipers.
Man, always bet on black.
Hey, but what about them saying that they couldn't put any snipers on top of the other roof, which had a lesser slant than the roof
That's
that
what
the
I'm
snipers
saying.
were on?
That didn't make sense.
It's not making
so
sense.
Here's the thing. Stop lying to the public, too. Like, we're not, some of us are stupid. Like, some of these liberals that were claiming they know guns and they're gun experts and that this was all staged and they had a ketchup packet and blah, blah. Those people are stupid.
Oh, they went to the ketchup packet?
Oh, yeah, they did. There was a ketchup packet found in his pocket. I'm looking at your shirt right now. That is not ketchup. That is blood. You could say that it's fake blood, like movie blood, but that's not ketchup. So anyhow, but yeah, so the slope that a roofer came out and dispelled that like the same day.
Yeah.
The roof that the actual snipers were on was more sloped than the one Crooks was on.
Yeah.
So it's that's a lie number one. The second lie is, okay, so the next day they say they can't get into his phone, but they also say that he acted alone. Well, if you can't get into his phone, how do you know that he acted alone?
Yeah. Telling on themselves.
Well, here's the thing. They've gotten really sloppy because they thought he'd be dead. And we'd all be paying attention and mourning and all the hubbub.
Wouldn't even be thinking about the evidence
of our former president and current running for president death. We'd all be focused on that. So there's a lot of mistakes made in this. And then yesterday, Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service, is grilled, which, by the way, these shenanigans in the House and these public theater things, they're so dumb.
I noticed a lot in that hearing. It was so much going on in that hearing.
I mean, she didn't answer a question for one, but it's just theater.
Oh, major theater.
Okay, so today, as of this recording, she stepped down, which rightfully so, but she should actually be arrested, not only for perjury, but for endangering someone else's life, not doing your job.
Yeah.
She should be arrested, and there's going to be no accountability on her, just like there's no accountability for Fauci or anything else.
The family of that firefighter should sue the government because...
But then that's on us. That's on us, the taxpayers. Yes, they probably should. Actually, they probably shouldn't. They should only sue her to get her ass in jail.
Yeah.
And anyone else that was responsible for it. They got it raised a ton of money for them, and I feel so bad for the Capator family because that man died a hero, he did what a man does and protected his wife and daughter and shielded them from incoming bullets.
The thing that's been getting me watching those hearings is you see bipartisan, you see all of the people coming together. The Dems are asking tough questions, and the Republicans.
AOC actually asked tough questions.
Yeah, and it just shows you the hypocrisy of
It's
it. They
theater.
never get along with anything. But it's so many Republicans that was wishing that he got shot, and all of the Democrats were wishing he got shot. Now they're acting like they're all on one accord, asking tough questions.
And then no accountability is going to happen to her.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the thing is anyone that was involved with this should be put to death.
Now, one lady asked some brilliant questions. She said, how many bullet shells did they recover? And if that director says the wrong thing and said, oh, it was only 3 recovered and it was 5 shots, you know right then and there that there's more than one shooter, because there's no way on earth those bullet shells would have went anywhere else.
Yeah.
So she dodged that. She was like, I know how many, but I'm not going to answer it, so.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see America come together to donate so much money to Corey Capator's family.
Yeah, they deserve it.
He died a hero.
Yes, he did.
And he was a first responder to Pennsylvania. Like he was a fire chief, and like to see. So for this is the most sickening part. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because this is the most sickening part. Regardless of what you think about Trump, regardless if you think this was a setup, regardless if you think it was a setup by Trump or the deep state like you and I do, someone died because of this bullshit.
Innocent person.
If you think this was just incompetence by the Secret Service, if you just, whatever you think about the situation, an American man, father, patriot, fireman, husband, friend, brother, died because of it.
And some people may think he faked his death.
Ketchup packets.
Machiavelli.
No, because I watched the interview with the doctor, the civilian doctor in the crowd that day.
That was trying to save him.
Trying to save him.
Yeah.
And he was covered in blood.
Yeah.
Like,
brain matter over his shirt and everything. So we live in an alternate universe, man, because if you flip the people and if Joe Biden was shot at,
there would have been terror in the streets.
And it was a Trump's administration, they would have been like, we know the deep state tried to take out Biden. So we live in an alternate universe. People just see things from totally different perspectives because of political parties, and that's just dangerous.
Well, this is how brilliant the media is, and the social media networks are.
They are.
This is how manipulative and brilliant they are because they brainwash the public. You're about to lose that ash. Don't want to lose it on your nice new beautiful shirt that Jason got you. But this is how powerful the media is. The brainwashing mechanism is because these people hate this man so much because of Russian collusion, because they made up they chopped that Charleston speech to only say that there's good people on both sides that's not what he was saying at all. If you play out the speech,
they are good.
That all the stuff they've made up and that he's a friend of Putin and that he's all that, and they just kept beating that into people's heads to the point that he's this evil, evil man. And now they just see this caricature. Like Andy Frisella brought up this great point, is like, they don't even hate Trump. They hate the Trump that the media has made out to be.
Yes, they hate the
It's like a caricature or an actor, like something like an image.
The fictional Trump that they created, they hate. And then on top of that, they don't vote for someone that they really like their policies or someone that's morally good. You can bring back Hitler and Hitler can come and say, I don't like Trump. They will actually like Hitler. It's just anti-Trump, because on the Democratic side, you can bring anyone in because they don't like any of the Democrats. You can't do that with Trump. I love Trump. And you can't bring any other Republican in. I'm not messing with none of those other Republicans because I like Trump for who he is, not because of hatred for Biden. The only reason they ever liked Biden was because of hatred for Trump. They don't like Biden or his policies. They were the worst two when they were running for president. Kamala couldn't get her own state. She couldn't get.
She had less than 1%. She was pulling out.
Yeah. But now all of a sudden, if she's up against Trump, they're lining up. They love her now. It's just crazy to see how these people move on emotions. You know, they let their emotions overtake their moral compass. You know, look at the stuff that they like out of hatred for Trump. Morally, as a Christian, as a human, beyond religion, you should never root for war.
Or another man's demise
or
through
another
murder.
Or murder, or you shouldn't root for killing babies. But I look at the Democratic side. This is all the stuff that they clap for. They used to be against war. You know, abortion is a whole different story. But just morally thinking about someone rooting or killing kids, it's crazy to me.
Speaking of that, I saw this great meme made that said Biden was about to go full term, so the Democrats had to abort him.
That's actually awesome.
It's so bad, but so appropriate for what you were just speaking to.
And like this morning, I saw someone say, the Democrats are running around, all they're screaming is democracy, democracy. And right in front of your face, they just obliterated democracy. They're removing a candidate and just putting their own candidate in.
Is it democratic to shoot a political opponent? No.
No.
Is it democratic to put your own... the party to decide instead of the people to decide?
Exactly.
But they've been doing it for years.
But
they did it with
democracy.
They subverted democracy with Bernie and put Hillary in.
Yes.
Because the people wanted Bernie.
Yeah. They
did it with Biden the
last time.
They did it with Biden this last time.
Yeah.
Then now they're replacing him again.
It's unbelievable.
So the people don't have a say, and yet the Democrats, instead of getting mad about their own party screwing them over, they just fall right in line. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because they hate the orange man. Yeah. That's their reasoning. Because he'll end democracy, but you have democracy being thwarted right in front of your face to you as a Democrat.
It's going to be a rough couple of months, man. It's
going
to be really rough.
It's going to be tough as hell.
I wonder how this nightmare is going to play out. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Well, we'll get into some more speculation, but I want to wrap a bow on this assassination attempt. It's like, we can't forget this.
No.
And, I mean, because this is not how America is supposed to operate. You don't have, like, the division that the media and politicians... So let's just say it wasn't deep state for a moment, which you and I both agree that we think it was. There's a bigger thing at play.
We don't have proof of it.
Let's just say this 20-year-old transgender dude, which, by the way, there's pictures that he was converting to woman. So this 20-year-old.
Republican that's giving money to Democrats.
Yeah, supposedly. Oh, that was the other thing that came out right away, which there's video. I have the video on my phone of him screaming wildly at Republicans saying, I'm going to slit all your throats.
But he's a Republican, a registered Republican who's never voted Republican. This is wild.
But even so, it's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what he was.
Mm-hmm.
It matters that he tried to kill President Trump.
And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
That's all that matters. And everyone gets wrapped up into the weeds of the details. Yeah. No, he tried to kill our former president running for president. And had it gone the other way, there'd be riots in the street, businesses being burnt down.
He would have been a hero hurt. To the left. Since when did
so he would have been a hero to the left because you saw him crying on the internet saying that he wished that he hadn't missed.
Yeah.
But let's just play that out. Let's just say that it was him, lone shooter, that just wanted Trump dead. Let's play that out. Who caused that?
The media. I think the media and politics driving someone insane to hate a person that they really know nothing about. And at the end of the day, it's his responsibility as a human being not to be running around trying to assassinate
Trump never did anything to that 20-year-old white dude. So that's what I'm saying. Let's play this out. Like, you said all this bad stuff. You said all this bad stuff. You're an evil person. And I'm just being told that you're evil, and I hear all you talking behind my back. Excuse me. And you did all this bad stuff about talking about me, and and I hate you.
Yeah.
Am I within my rights to walk up to you and shoot you in the head?
Hell no. 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 No matter what somebody says about a person.
And so not only would I go to prison for that, but regardless of that, I also let you live rent-free in my head.
Yeah.
I'm in control of my own emotions.
Exactly.
I can't have a fascination about killing a fellow citizen or even letting it get that far where I have such a hate for someone that said all these mean things or wrote these mean tweets or all this different, or the media told me was this. Like, I can't have such a hate for another human being that A, it consumes me, and B, I'm going to fantasize about killing, and then C, actually attempt to kill you.
And that goes on both sides. You get nut jobs. You get nut jobs on the right. You get nut jobs on the left. But the media who's driving these people insane, it's a dangerous game that they're playing, you know, and you can't resolve anything by your emotions taking over your actions. You know, you get so mad that you feel you have a right to put your hands on someone else just because you disagree with them. That's like, it's old Jim Crow days. And that's why I tell people both sides need to calm down, but the left is really taking on the mentality of the Ku Klux Klan. Back in the day, if the Klan didn't like you or what you look like, they felt they had a right to go rope you up and hang you in a tree. And you did nothing to them. But it was okay in that society because that was the norm back then. And that's becoming the norm now. Democrats hate you. They feel like they can mess your property up. They can take your job away from you or hurt you financially. And that's crossing too many streets. That's crossing. Or even,
it's like, those are all great examples. But even the point that because you as a black man support Trump.
Yeah.
Hate you just because you have a differing opinion.
I get that all the time.
Right, but that's what I'm just saying is like, who the fuck are you?
And you get it from both sides.
I know, but like that's what I'm saying. Who are
from
you?
Blacks and
Who are you to think that you know better than someone else? Like they don't have providence over their own thoughts. Like they're not their own human, and they don't have they're too dumb to form their own beliefs.
Because they know not what they do. They think in their head, I know exactly what you need. I know how you should think. I know what's good for you. When the thing that you think is good for me.
Well, that seems like a racist slave owner, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's a modern slave owner.
I know what's good for you.
Exactly.
The young black man.
Exactly. One of my good friends sitting around a cigar bar. Me and a couple of brothers, we got on our Trump hats, and this is my buddy, man, one of my good friends. He came in, looked at the table and said, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." And I looked at him like, so you telling us, three big brothers wearing Trump hats, you telling us we don't have a right to wear what we want to wear? Then he tried to play it off. No, no, you weren't joking. This offended you. This offended you because I'm not your pet Negro and I don't think the way you want me to think. I was on the phone with one of my best friends this morning. He's sending me little clips. Kamala Harris didn't lock up that many people, trying to justify her prison, her record as a prosecutor. But even when you go to certain black neighborhoods and stuff, or you go around certain black people, they look at you like, how dare you wear that hat? And then I asked one of my best friends, I said, you hate Trump. Tell me one policy that I should like about the person that you voted for. I don't know any of Biden policies. I don't know any of Kamala Harris policies. So I told him, so you could vote for someone that could say, I want to lock up every black person and I want to make life harder for a black person, as long as I put a smile on my face and say, I like you. But then if you look at the policies that she's pushing, you don't know anything about these people other than they're not Trump. That's such an irresponsibility. I ask every black Democratic voter, sell your vote to me, because if you ask me to sell my vote to you, I'll say, okay, my guy, he brought prison reform, the First Step Act. He brought opportunity zones. They'll say, oh, opportunity zones, one for black people. What about funding HBCUs, the most money ever? Oh, he only did that to pander. What about receiving NAACP awards from and funding Jesse Jackson's campaign if he's such a racist, And then I tell him on the flip side, sell your guy. This is what your guy sell. This is what you can sell me with your guy. He wrote the 1994 crime bill that specifically locked up black men. He created the 3 strikes and you're outlaw. So if you were a black felon and you stole a Snickers bar or something, you can have 3 strikes against you and have to do mandatory life. He's the guy that was against busing. He wrote laws with Jesse Helm, Dennis Byrd, not just Ku Klux Klan's members, the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. He spoke eulogies at their funerals. You know, this is the guy you're voting for, who everything he did in life was to make it harder for black people. Now he's a martyr. Now he's a hero. Then they try to talk about moral compasses. I ask any man or anyone that's watching this, if you had a gun up to your head and they said, look, you got to cheat on your wife with a porn star or rape your 11-year-old daughter. I'm cheating with that porn star every time if you want to do a moral compass check. And what type of man would disown his own flesh and blood? You got all the money in the world, but you don't have time for your granddaughter. You don't want her part of the family. She can't come to Christmas outings, but you're a morally good dude. You stole one of your best friends, then the babysitter. You married Jill, you know, and you allowed your son to sleep with your dead son's wife, and you approved of that. But they're running around
and then
saying,
cheat on said,
yeah. But he's a great human being.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Seems like it. You just laid that case out perfectly. So let's look at the timeline real quick, because I want to move to where is Biden? We got to talk about where is Biden.
I think it was a sighting of him today. And I don't think he ever got COVID. That was just a smokescreen for him to bow out gracefully and not have to answer to the media.
Well, there's a video about that in 2020. I posted it today.
I think the Simpsons predicted Kamala Harris taking over, too.
Well, Simpsons could be predictive programming. Very highly likely that they're predictive programming, because the evil people think that if they tell you what they're going to do and then they do it, that justifies them doing it.
That's why you get paid the big bucks. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense.
That makes a speculative, but I think
did not think of that from COVID on.
Yeah. All right. So check this out. So this is the timeline for everyone. All right. So Biden says 20 times that he's not dropping out and that he won't be pushed out by party elites. Then he gets COVID, supposedly. Oh, but let me tell you about that video real quick. I stopped my thought there. So the video in 2020 was him and Kamala as they were president and vice president-elect at the time this video was shot. And he was asked something about disagreement with Obama. And he says, well, I've already told Barack that if we get into a moral dilemma, and then he stutters, that I'll just have to develop an illness and have to pull myself out.
If I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign. We don't have that.
I posted that in my story today because people need to see this, right? She literally looks at him. Yes, she looks at him and goes, and shakes her head no, because he just gave away the play.
I have to see that.
And this was just shy of 4 years ago. So, all right. So Biden says 20 times that he's not dropping out and he won't be pushed out by party elites. Then he gets COVID, goes out of sight for a few days. His campaign co-chair says emphatically that Joe is not leaving the race, period. A few hours later, his X account, which is run by a 20-year-old female, not by him, for those that don't know. A few hours later, I still can't call it X, man. It's Twitter. Sorry, Elon, I voted on your poll. It's still Twitter. So later on his Twitter account, posts that he is leaving the race via a screenshot document with absolutely no proof that he's behind it. Joe Biden's campaign aides and staff say that they found out via Twitter, not from the Bidens. So his staff and his aides didn't know. They found out from Twitter, not from him, not from Jill, not from Chief of Staff, from Twitter. 24 hours later, Joe still hasn't shown his face to confirm that it's his statement, but Kamala secured enough delegates to be the nominee within 24 hours since his post. Joe Biden's Twitter account now has a Kamala ad as his profile header. Their campaign headquarters has been redone to eliminate Biden's name. Kamala holds a small event where she begins to say that he's on a record.
Oh, I saw that.
Then
they were acting like it was a live conversation.
Then says phone, and we hear a strange back and forth that feels totally unnatural. All of this via phone, like we're living in the 1940s, glued to the radio for news. No visual is shown of him. All of this occurs with no proof that it's Joe. Could be bizarre.
Especially with AI technology.
By the way, this is from Robbie Starbuck. I want to give him credit. He's a good reporter on Twitter. Conservative dude, but still, he spits facts. So maybe he did this, but even if he did, this is really bizarre. And yet the media is pretending it's totally normal. None of this is normal. None of it. It is absolutely unprecedented.
And we invite anyone that disagree with this podcast. You are more than welcome to fact check us and try to come up with a counterpoint. We welcome anyone on this show that feels that they could bring a better, non-biased response to what we say, because we don't have a dog in the hunt, and we don't get paid by big sponsors to come on here and lie for someone, because the right can get it, the left can get it. We just want you guys to get it mentally.
Right. So his last public appearance was reported July 17th when deboarding a plane in Delaware. That's 6 days ago.
And he supposedly had COVID, but sitting in a armored truck with agents with no mask on or anything like that. So I can't 100% say he could have COVID, but I don't think it was just such a convenient time to get it. But I'm looking forward to seeing that video of him saying how he would bow out.
Well, and again, we don't know if he's alive or not. Like, that would be sad if he's not, and they're running this play right behind his back. I hear reports that he's on hospice care. That's what, I mean, here's the thing. Thank God for Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, thank God for Elon putting this out, because if not, we wouldn't have any news.
And but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole of being just like these conspiracy theorists that are saying we don't know if he's alive or not. He could be gone, but
I'm not speculating.
Exactly.
On that. I'm saying we don't know because we haven't seen him.
Yeah. I don't know if there was a sighting of him today. It could have been a sighting of him today, but that remains to be seen. So if he, and that wouldn't be a joyous thing if he's not alive. It's not even
I'm not
pleasurable. I know it's not even a pleasurable thing to see him struggle. He should be at home with his grandkids. And shame on Jill for keep trotting him out and for her power. And it's just a bad
How is
look.
this not a coup?
Oh, that's exactly what it is. And it's unpatriotic, and it's killing democracy while they scream about democracy every day, and they go against everything that should be a democracy or a democratic move. They go against all the rules and say things are unpatriotic, and they do exactly the opposite. Yeah. They challenge every election, and then if someone else does it, it's just crazy what they get away with. And the media just let them lie and lie and lie and lie.
So I want to go on record and say that I hope he's alive. I hope he's well. I mean,
I think
that would be sad. I think he's alive. Sad for his family.
I think he's alive and well.
There's reports that he's on hospice care right now. But
I think he's alive and well. I just think he's just laying low to let Kamala get her shine on.
But think about this though. So you say that's one theory, but you say you're not going to drop out of the race. Mm-hmm. And then you put out a quote on Twitter, a letter on Twitter that's not on official presidential news letterhead. That's an electronic signature, not your signature. And you don't make a public video statement, even if it's 30 seconds.
That's why they said he had COVID, so he couldn't do that.
But it doesn't make sense because you're the president of the United States. And if you're not well enough to run for office, you're not well enough to be in office. So now that brings me to my point of Kamala should have 25th him. And she has a lot of answers to do it, because if you knew, like we all watched for the last 4 years, that this dude is not competent enough to hold the office of president, you have a civic duty as vice president to 25th Amendment the president.
But that's politics. That makes his legacy what little bit of
but that's
legacy
your
that makes
duty.
him
Your
look
duty
bad.
is to your country, not to politics and not to party.
We're talking about politicians. Their duty is nothing to do with our country.
The people know that we have to hold them accountable. Because yes, I understand what you're saying. I believe the same thing. They're all full of shit.
Exactly.
The problem is that they signed, when they take these offices, to serve the country, not your party, not your pocketbook.
And none of them believe in that, though. None of them believe in that.
But that's why we have to hold them accountable till we get people that actually do believe that.
It's hard to hold someone accountable when you drink the Kool-Aid and you believe everything they say. You believe in internal investigations. Could you imagine living in a world where you can investigate yourself and just come up and rewrite facts and evidence? This would be, oh my goodness.
All right, so let's. I want to get to the CrowdStrike thing, so I want to have time for that. So, do you think that Kamala will actually be the candidate for the Democratic Party by the time we go to election on November 5th?
Me personally, I think they're all in with her. That's their last hope. Who you going to bring in? the guy from California. Who you gonna bring in? They don't have any good candidate. That's what happens when you just roll along without good politicians.
Who's the one person that didn't endorse Kamala?
Old Biden, Barack Biden, because he's been running the country anyway. And Michelle Biden, in the fourth quarter, quarterback Joe Namath is down. You put the pads on Michelle and let her warm up a little bit, and here she comes to throw the Hail Mary. I can see that happening.
Where's the DNC?
It's gonna be in. Hold on, where's the DNC gonna be this year?
Where's it gonna be?
I just heard this just this morning.
Just south of us.
Is it in Milwaukee or Chicago? It's in Chicago.
Where are the Obamas from?
Chicago, and they're already prepping to shut down protesters. So, it's starting to make sense. Yes, young Jedi, you've learned very well. It's all starting to unfold. Now that you are just. Oh, Jostradamus, if all of this plays out, you are.
Well, let's just, play it like, I don't see how you, so first of all, for those that don't know, Kamala is half Indian, half Jamaican. She said that she was Indian while she was prosecuting all the black people in California.
Now she's black. Yeah. And doesn't do anything.
Speaking of privilege, you can just switch to whatever you want. Like you say, oh, you don't like spicy food, so that's your Caucasian side.
Hey, Kamala's a work of art. She grew up in Canada. She was raised under some royalty thing. She says she's black now.
She was in Montel Williams' harem.
And Willie Brown is the one who let her sleep her way to the top. She does nothing black about her. She's got white kids. Nothing wrong with that.
She adopted 2 Jewish white kids.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think she was too selfish to ever have her own kids. Because
but white men are the problem, but all of them are married to white men.
Exactly. So
AOC.
Yeah. And then and all they talk about is how bad the white man is, but they live in a white world. And it's all good. And don't take that the wrong way. I feel like you should be able to marry anyone you want to.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But it's just ironic.
Yeah.
It's ironic. Yeah. We shouldn't be talking about race. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All they do is talk about race. And they'll make this whole race about race.
That's one good thing about Trump's VP pick. That knocks all of that. He's a racist. He's got a woman of color, and he's got 2 mixed kids, so they can stop all of that race baiting with him. So that was a good pick on that part. Had he had a white wife and white kids, they'd be, he's Hitler. He's part of the Klan. So that knocked that out of the water.
Both Yale graduates, smart people. But yeah, I'm not sure that it'll be Kamala. She raised a ton of money, so I don't know how they keep switching. I don't know how that helps them or hurts them, but I thought it was real interesting that the major influence in the party, who is Obama, did not endorse her.
Yeah.
When everyone else did.
We may get an Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama ticket. We may get it.
Wow. Child groomer, Oprah Winfrey. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Trafficking. Again, the show's speculative, but there's smoke.
That was a good point you made right there.
So we'll see what plays out. I think that there's a lot of shenanigans that are going to happen between now and November, and we just got to keep focused on policies and not buying into any of the race baiting and anything else they're going to do to try to divide us.
I look at it like this, man. As bad as you want people to wake up, sometimes the nightmare just continues because people continue to vote in these certain ways. I had one of my buddies, we sat on the phone for hours, and he said, you think it's Biden's fault that gas prices are so high right now? And he said it's Putin's fault that we have high gas prices. Then I told him, I said, you don't think that's a new form of taxation, raising these gas prices? Because you can't look at a specific group and say, hey, you put these certain taxes on me. So they just do a mass gas tax. And I said, you don't think they can manipulate the taxes on gas? Just look at the difference of taxes in California and Alabama. They get the same gas.
Yeah.
But one spot has a higher gas tax. So people believe their lying eyes.
Yes, they do. And it's really unfortunate that they do. You got to focus on policies. So it's like you just ask them like they do in the congressional hearings. Be like, yes or no, friend. Yes or no? Were prices lower under Trump or not? Yes or no?
Yeah. But people have neglected policies. The policies don't matter anymore. It's party.
Feelings.
It's feelings. It's party. Because
I feel this way. Like, no, it's so dumb.
people will sit there and tell me that their life is better while screaming that they're struggling under Biden and he's got this great economy and he's just the greatest president ever. And when they had a great 4 years under Trump, but it's still, they're blinded by who was the president at the time. Had Biden had Trump's record, they would be screaming to the heavens. They wouldn't have to use race baiting and just slandering another opponent. If his record was so good, they'd be running on his record. They keep saying this man's record is so good, but they're trying to get away from that record.
Yeah. So let's get into this CrowdStrike story. I want to read something to you guys quick. This is pretty informative. So the CrowdStrike, for those that don't know, this is before my reading, but they did an update and it knocked out a ton of Microsoft softwares and computers. My Apple phone was fine. My Apple computer was fine, thankfully.
Speaking of CrowdStrike, didn't they come up with the Russia hoax?
Well, I thought that was Hillary and
it was some strike,
the CIA and whatnot. I don't know. It could be. So anyhow, let me read this. But anyone that did know, like, if you had flight problems in the past week, probably because of that.
Yeah.
Right. If you had work issues in the past week, probably because of that. So was it a trial run for the election day? Was it a trial run for something bigger across the country?
Oh, voting machines and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it could be, but let me read this. So when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, she was illegally funneling sophisticated weapons through Libya to terrorists in the Middle East in an effort to take out Assad in Syria for Israel. Some of us remember that. When the weapons transfer went sideways and the U.S. ambassador was killed in Benghazi, it was discovered she was using an illegal private server for secret communications.
Stevenson, that is.
Yeah,
you
Stevenson.
know about that.
Yeah. I think it was it Stevens?
One of them,
yeah,
two.
Stevens. She destroyed the server, but not before its contents were leaked by WikiLeaks. Thank you, WikiLeaks. Including communications about bizarre occult, OCCULT.
Oh, one
occult,
thing, just not to pause you that long, and it shows people how ignorant they are and how the deep state can cover their own tracks. Now, what you just said, she destroyed it, but you have a backup record. Just like when they said she smashed her Blackberries, we all know if we destroy one of our iPhones, they're going straight to the cloud and get the evidence. But they can say we destroyed it, and then the American people will say, "Oh, it's destroyed, so you can't recover all of the evidence." So.
Yeah. So WikiLeaks helped preserve some of these, right, from the cloud or whatever. So including communications about bizarre occult rituals and inexplicable code words involving children and pizza. Anyone that knows anything about that?
Yeah.
Pizzagate. Instead of investigating the leaks themselves, the FBI investigating the leak, or the FBI relied on CrowdStrike investigation that falsely claimed the server was hacked by Russia.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI cleared Hillary Clinton, despite admitting she broke the law, and launched the Russiagate investigation using more fake Clinton campaign disinformation to tie Trump to Russia to get a FISA warrant and spy on Trump while leaking dirt to the press to undermine his first campaign, then his presidency. When Trump had a call with Zelensky and asked about CrowdStrike, a whistleblower falsely claimed quid pro quo and launched the first impeachment to stop Trump's inquiries. It was in the midst of this impeachment trial, by the way, when Event 201 took place, but that's a different story for a different day. Fast forward to 2024, and Trump is dominating Biden when he miraculously survives a deep state orchestrated assassination attempt 2 days. What was that? Yeah. And then 2 days later, the CrowdStrike thing happens.
And that was CrowdStrike that started with Russiagate with Stevens. That was Hillary paid CrowdStrike to come in with the Russia misinformation.
Yeah, it was them. Yeah, so 2 days later, CrowdStrike caused the biggest computer network crash in all of history. Did you know that?
That's
all of history. Biggest crash. Knocking out millions of corporate and government systems offline for hours. other than the fact that BlackRock owns CrowdStrike, and a BlackRock-affiliated investment firm placed millions of dollars betting against Donald J. Trump in the hours before the assassination attempt by a shooter who was featured in a BlackRock promo.
Commercial. Yeah. That's wild. That's wild. That's unbelievable. But it's factual.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And they don't think the deep state is out to get my boy Trump. Now, if this stuff was happening to Obama, it'd be some mad liberals out here right now. But it's fine.
But it's not going to happen because he's part of the cabal.
Exactly. But if the shoe was on the other foot, and then you probably have people on the right saying, oh, that's conspiracies. And so you just can't find that happy medium. You can't. It's sad.
But that's why I'm just like, aren't we sick of these people? Why aren't we sick of these people?
I'm sick of it all. The
Bushes,
left and the right.
Clintons,
Yeah.
Obamas, Bidens.
All of them.
They're all in on it.
Except for this guy.
And that's why they want him dead.
Yeah, he's the only one that's not in on it.
Well, that we know of, right? So I'm still open to the fact, because I've not always been a Trump guy. You have. But I'm still open to the fact that we could be wrong and he could be part of it.
You never know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Right? What we think, and based on, objective looking around and knowing what we know, we think he's the guy to fix it, do the job.
The only reason that makes me think he's not part of it, they wouldn't be going so hard to kill him if he was part of it.
But let's play into the, it was orchestrated by his team and it was part of the deep state trickery.
I don't think they're that damn good.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying I'm leaving it open to say, look, we could be wrong.
I look at his actions.
But based on everything that we know right now, we don't think that we're wrong and he's the guy for the job. I'm just saying that there is a chance that we could be wrong. And that's the thing that liberals won't even do. That's the thing that liberals won't even do is like, oh, I'm so right and you're so wrong.
Yeah.
That I hate you.
Exactly.
I'm actually leaving. I'm telling you guys publicly on the podcast, thousands of downloads. Look, I could be wrong. I don't think we are.
Right.
But I'm leaving myself open to that.
They don't even leave themselves open to any type of scrutiny.
They're too arrogant.
Yeah. It's wild. But I just look at his record as far as not starting these wars and making us fuel oil independent and stuff like that, trying to keep prices down. He just never bought into none of that stuff. His actions didn't show that. So we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know if he signed a deal with the devil right now. You know, only time will tell. But we're at least open to saying, let the chips fall where they may. So
that's right. And so today we wanted to get a catch-up episode in. I didn't have enough time to look for any good news out there because we've had a lot of shocking news from Trump's attempted assassination to Biden not being seen for a week, and whether it's COVID or otherwise. Hope he's okay. But again, it's an odd time that we are living through right now. And that's unprecedented times.
And that's what, I mean, I know people may watch this podcast and feel like we're just bashing the left, and I'm going to do a lot more homework. And yeah, they do deserve it right now, and they are in control. But I'm going to look into try to find out what the right is doing that's so bad. And like, I look for it. I'm not finding it. I don't see anybody.
Well, you're talking about deep state. So, here's something I didn't bring up. Actually, you'll appreciate this. Trump was meant to be dead. We already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know who had a spot speaking at the RNC that wasn't invited?
Not McCarthy.
No. But someone that spoke that wasn't invited. Female.
Oh, you talking about Nikki Haley?
And who is the deep state's choice for a Republican nominee?
Nikki Haley is the biggest deep stater. And that's another thing. And now we could talk about the right. Yeah, Nikki Haley is the biggest warmonger. Nikki Haley would win with flying colors.
So think about back to the debates and all the stuff for the right. Who'd they want?
Nikki Haley.
And if Trump was dead?
Nikki Haley. Yeah.
Right.
So the right, you don't get a pass anyway. I try to tell people the right is just as corrupt as the left, if not more. I blame them even more because they really act like they like their voters and stuff like this. And Republican voters are just as dumb as Democratic voters because there's a lot of Republicans who like Nikki Haley and say, oh, she's a good woman, straight up warmonger. Liz Cheney, warmonger. Nikki Haley's the worst out of all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, she was signing bombs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of sycophant would actually just put their name and sign a message on a bomb that's going to kill people?
Oh, such a warmonger. She's talking about wiping countries off the map and stuff like that. These are supposed to
But she was the deep state choice. It was supposed, in fact, it was supposed to be Nikki Haley versus Kamala.
Yeah, I think Nikki Haley would have wiped the floor with her because they love her. I don't agree with Kamala Harris. I don't know if she's the warmonger that Nikki Haley is. Nikki Haley is Mrs. Deep State. She is deep state.
Well, Kamala's in on it. She's deep state as well. So
both
she's a puppet.
Yeah, but Nikki Haley's got a bigger
history. She's got a bigger history with it for sure, with her policies. And here's the other trippy thing I forgot to mention. We can close out. You think about this. What previous debate was televised?
What do you mean?
Or not debate, I'm sorry, rally. What's the last Trump rally you saw televised by CNN Live?
They never showed any of them except the one that was in Pennsylvania. That was the only one. And they wanted that to be broadcasted live to see his brain splattered on the stage.
I don't think a lot of people thought about that, though.
And now that you say that, I'm going back saying they refused to televise any of
They
this.
didn't want any attention paid to him. So they didn't televise the New Jersey one where he had over 100,000 people show up. They didn't televise the New York one.
None of them. They refused.
They televised the one he gets shot at?
Yeah, CNN would say, we're not going to give him attention. We're not telling. They would cut. They would be like, we're not going to Donald Trump's rally. Man, Josh, you play chess. I did not think about that. And that was the last one and the only one televised. Wow.
Well, so it's just interesting. Like, of all these oddities, whether you hate Trump or like Trump, you don't go, huh? That doesn't make sense. And you don't even have one question.
And this is the only guy it's happening to. COVID is he's the only president to get hit with COVID. He's the only one in like 40 years to have an assassination attempt on him. With the modern technology we have with drones and the security that we do have, and you telling me Jill Biden's getting more agents to protect her than Donald Trump with the crowds that he get? And like you say, this has just opened my third eye. I didn't realize this was the only one that they televised. The revolution will be televised. This is wild. I like how you think. I
mean, I just like my mind asks questions.
Yeah.
Like I like to ask questions before I come up with answers.
And it's not about you being right or being for the left or the right. It's just about being right in your moral compass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also just trying to seeking to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things that don't make sense. And when they don't make sense, you just got to go, what possibilities are there? And that's what I was walking you through earlier. Let's play out this scenario. Let's play out this scenario. Like, what's most likely?
Yeah.
Because you can't chalk it like the Secret Service are some of the best trained on the planet because they're protecting the president.
Yeah.
Like the person that matters most to the country. They're a beacon of hope to all of us Americans, regardless if you like them or don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
They're the beacon of the free world. They're one of the most highly skilled people. And to have this level of incompetence doesn't make you go,
It's almost like trying to say Bill Gates knocked out Mike Tyson. That's not going to happen. That guy getting up on that roof and shooting at Donald Trump, only way that's going to happen if it was planned. It was by design. So Bill Gates...
They just walked past you with a 20-foot ladder. You didn't notice nothing suspicious here.
He came in with a rangefinder.
Nothing suspicious here. He must be golfing.
Yeah.
Walks by with a gun. That must be a BB gun.
Yeah. And he climbs a building with agents on the bottom floor and the second floor. No one heard
He's got a gun pointing at the stage. Yeah. Oh, that must be a Nerf gun. He ain't going to shoot.
Exactly. And everyone...
CNN's televising for the first Trump rally ever. Oh, they just made their ratings must be hurting. They just need like what are you serious?
None of it's making sense. But maybe one day it'll all make sense. Who knows?
The roof was too slopey. Oh yeah, totally plausible.
Oh, man.
I mean, by the way, on your fancy house that you own, how'd those shingles get up there? Were they too slopey?
Mm-hmm.
Were those angles on your roof too slopey?
Oh, man, this is just, I feel like I'm in a twilight zone at times. I feel like I'm in a twilight zone.
Yeah, well, I'll close it up with this. Is like, we got to put people and country over politics.
Most
like
definitely.
you have said, Republicans disagree, Democrats disown. We can't disown each other. Like, to the degree that you're that arrogant and that narcissistic that you can't disagree with someone, that you can't have your own emotions in check to be like, I think this and you think that, and that's okay because we came from different spots and we have different perspectives.
Yeah.
And you can't have that recognition. You just hate a person because they want to vote for Trump or they want to vote for Kamala or whoever the candidate's going to be. Like, if you don't have that level of emotional intelligence, you got a lot of work to do.
Or also just to be so blinded by hatred and rage that you can't see what's in front of you. That's a bad way to live.
And right. And if you're that obsessed about politics and you're thinking that president or that president or that person is going to come in and save your life and like your well-being and all this, they're not. Yeah. I got a news flash for you. They're not. You're still in control of that.
Yeah.
You get to control your health. You get to control what you put in your mouth. You get to control how hard you work.
Mm-hmm.
You get to control if you go to church or not.
Yeah.
Like, you have control and providence over your own being.
Yeah.
So stop being so focused on Orange Man bad.
Yeah.
Like, just go do you.
Get out of the cult. A lot of people look at what happened in Jonestown and they say, how could people sit there and drink the Kool-Aid? Because they were driven to believe in something that wasn't good for them. And you see people do that every day when it comes to politics. They are great cult leaders. And a lot of people just cannot see that they're part of a cult.
Do you know the left's saying?
No, what is it?
Vote blue, no matter who.
We can sum it up with that.
That's the thing. Just vote blue.
No matter who it is.
No matter who it is.
It could be Hitler, Genghis Khan, Stalin,
Mussolini.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's like, that's the definition of a cult.
It is.
Because I'm proud to say that I've voted for almost all parties. I voted Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, and there's probably another one I voted for just because I look at candidates and who I think is going to be the best policy maker to affect change in our society.
Yeah.
I would advocate that everyone do the same. You can't be in just a left or right cult. It doesn't, like, there's no one party that has all the best ideas. There's no one person that has all the best ideas. This country used to be founded and come across the aisle and make decisions together and compromise together. Now it's just sheer hatred and divide. And it's on purpose. And it's on us to come back to the middle and demand accountability and demand that they work together for the betterment of us, not their own pockets.
That's a hard message to deliver.
It's a hard message for us to deliver to them.
Yeah.
Like the politicians, because they don't want to hear it because they're getting enriched and have power. But us, the people, that should be a unifying message. That should be simple.
But we're still fighting against that machine that's still to put that wedge in between people, and they've been doing a great job with that for decades. So, long way to go. Long way to go.
But Spartans, we can do it through leadership, through unification, through being one with each other, not actually just buying into this divide and conquer. Continue to ask questions. Be curious about your neighbor's beliefs. Your neighbor's not your enemy. The deep state is your enemy. It's us versus them.
And we need the 3 L's in our lives. We need to listen, learn, and love.
3
that will
L's.
help us a lot.
Listen, learn, love.
There we go.
I love it. So Spartans, share this episode far and wide. Make sure that we're getting the word out to help inflict change in our great country. Remember, the good and great are the enemies of possible. Lead like a Spartan today.
This is Sparta!